We have people that prospect for 6 months to a year before they even get banner.
I see.
You know, because we want to make sure that you're like a ride or die.
Right, right.
You know, a lot of people think it's silly. You know, we think it's great, but a lot of people think it's silly. Oh, you have pillows in your car. You have a chandelier. You have curtains. Like, what's going on in here? You know, but to us, it's like, that's the lifestyle.
Exactly.
You know, I feel like it's one of the most toxic traits that's in the scene is wheels. You know, revs and your car has revs and real wheels only, and when it comes to the stance, it's such a touchy subject. It really is. It depends on who you're talking to. Some people are just about that static lifestyle, and I'm kind of 50-50 community. I feel like we should all come together regardless of what kind of car or kind of builds we have.
Welcome back to the Dare to Drive podcast. Today we have a very special guest. We have Adam today. So you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, my name is Adam. I drive a 2021 Honda Accord Touring 2.0. My club is Inspired Society. Been with them for, I want to say, a little over 4 years now with 2 builds, this being the second one.
Well, let's just get started. We're going to get to know Adam and his car, his whole journey to where he is today, pretty much. So let's just get started on what got you into cars initially.
Got me into cars. I would say my stepdad and my brother. I'd always see my stepdad out in his driveway. He'd always be wrenching on his cars, mostly imports, MR2, Supras.
Oh, sweet.
Old
That's
school
awesome,
stuff.
yeah.
So I'd always see them out there wrenching, and I'd always be out there with them, helping them, microfiber, helping them, doing things like a little kid would do at that
Yeah.
time. And then as I grew up, my brother would get into cars as well. We're close to Ontario, and the racing scene out there was pretty popular. So my brother would always like take me out there, and
Yeah, that's dope.
I would see it and like visualize it, feel it, be part of the whole vibe, and like that kind of like opened my eyes to like the car scene and like what I wanted to do. And then he started getting into trouble with the whole like, racing thing, and started getting into stance.
Okay.
And then for me, that was like it. I
Yeah.
wanted to have like static. This is when I first started working on cars. Bags were like out of the question. That was like SEMA, like
Right.
very expensive and like very unaffordable. So everybody was static, static life. And of course, uh, with my first build and stuff like that, that kind of got me into like the zone with building a stance car.
Okay, sweet. I mean, what was your first car? Too.
My first build was a '01 Honda Civic. Actually, just take it back a little bit further. So my mom gave me her car. It was like a Ford Explorer.
Oh,
And
sweet.
she was like, "You can have this car, do whatever you want with it." And I'm like, "All right, cool." So, I didn't really do anything with it, just put sounds and stuff in it. And so eventually I sold it, and I bought a 1991 Acura Integra.
Okay, nice.
Bought it off Craigslist, sight on scene, like just bought it, dude. I didn't even I didn't even question the dude or anything like that. It had so many problems. It actually overheated on the way driving it home for
Oh, no.
buying it. But I had so many ups and downs with that car. I fixed it up. I had one-piece headlights. I did the old typical DA9 type build on it.
Okay.
It was static, low, had some tains on it, um, loud, of course,
Yeah.
obnoxious, and I had so much fun with the car. And then after the Integra, I got my when I started getting into like stance builds and stuff was my '01 Civic,
Okay.
and I went ham with that car. I destroyed that thing. I probably racked up like 15, 20 CHP tickets on that thing.
Oh, no. That's wild.
Yeah. Um, it was cut springs, pretty much like your static build, like on a budget.
Yeah,
Cut
yeah.
springs, cut coils. I had some XXRs on it that I bought with like my tax refund money.
Okay.
And I just had so much fun with that car. I had a full roll cage in it. I gutted the interior,
Okay,
like,
sick. That's badass.
yeah.
So what did you, I mean, it was like a distance, or did you track it, or change the
Yeah, no,
canyons, or
I never tracked it. The car was realistically on slow, very
okay, yeah,
slow. You know, D17 non VTEC, like it's
okay,
pretty much an economical motor. You
mhm,
know, a lot of guys they would K swap them and stuff like that, but me working minimum wage at Target
mhm.
wasn't in my budget. You know,
Right.
I had a lot of homies that I still am friends with to this day, and they helped me, build it and do everything I had to do with it. Of course, going to like all the famous meets like IBOC and the Honda Super Meet. Those were all
Yeah,
really big back then. You know, they're still
right.
big now,
Hmm.
but that was the vibe. For that car at least. Definitely a Civic that no one ever really worked on because it was like we always call it the forgotten generation because
Yeah.
everybody didn't really work on them because after that the FA9s came out and
Mhm.
everybody was going crazy over those.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, so that car was really hard to work on and like find parts for anything aftermarket wise. It didn't get a lot of support,
I
so
see.
we did the best we could with what we
Yeah,
got.
definitely. And then after that, I mean, how I actually met you was what was it, the
The Nissan
Maxima,
Maxima, yeah.
right?
So after the Civic, I kind of went MIA. I had kids and stuff like that, so I wasn't really like looking to get back into the car scene just yet. So again, my mother had this Nissan Maxima, and she was like, it was nearly paid off, and she was like, take it, have it, do whatever you want with it. And I'm like, all right, cool. So paid off the car, had the pink slip, had this car forever. And I decided, I started Googling pictures, that's how, how that goes, looking at what you could do to it. And eventually I started buying parts right here and there. I had it on some Godspeeds. And then I bought some work CR2Ps
Okay.
from a friend of mine and drove around like that for about a year,
Yeah.
happy, not too much. And then started getting onto the Maxima forums and seeing what like people the potential that the car has
Mhm.
and seeing all these bag slam Maximas on some wide wheels, I was like, all right, cool, I got to step up my game. So pretty much a friend of mine that was in Texas, he was parting out his car. So he had bags, wheels, Acabona BBK, lots of carbon, and he was looking to like not sell everything individually, but he was like I hit him up. I'm like, hey, how much for the air? And he was like, I'll give you two for this much. I was like, cool. And then he hits me back up and he goes, are you interested in anything else in the car? And I was like, yeah, of course. I just can't afford it,
Right, right.
And he was like, what do you want? And I told him, I was like, I want the big brake kit.
Mhm.
I want all the carbon. I was like, the wheels would be like really expensive to ship, you
Mhm.
know.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
was like, dude, he gave me a price. He's like, give me the price. He's like, give me this, and I'll give you everything
Oh,
except
wow.
for the wheels.
Right, of course.
And I was like, man, like I don't know. I was at work, and I was like, all right, deal. So I wired him large amount of money, and he shipped everything to me over in this big, old, huge husky tote, and that thing was falling apart. It was so heavy; it probably weighed like 60 pounds,
Jeez.
and it was falling apart. It was all taped up from FedEx and stuff like
Mhm.
that. Them trying to keep everything together, and then after that, I hit up my boy Moon at JDM Mafia. Shout out to Moon and Marlon. And I gave him everything. And they were like, "We usually don't install used parts, but
Yeah.
we'll work with it, And I'm like, "All right." So they installed everything, got the car bagged, and then yeah, I mean, after that, I just started trickling and making it pretty much to what you saw,
Yeah, yeah.
on AAP wheels, all the carbon. I had the car repainted, you know. Again, me getting a car that's not aftermarket supported.
Yeah, most
So I
definitely.
kind of got
Mhm.
bored because after a while, it's like everything just starts becoming custom, custom,
Mhm.
custom, custom, and that stuff starts adding up.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, man, you know what? I don't think I'm losing interest in this car because I pretty much did everything I can. You know, performance-wise, that car is not very good because of the CVT.
Right,
You
right.
know, so I was like, yeah, I'm kind of getting bored of this car. Sat, and then eventually I ended up selling it. Some guy offered me some money for it, and I'm like, all right, cool, say less, come and
Okay,
get it.
sick. So, I mean, you said you just got rid of it just because of that reason? Because
No, so I mean, the car sat like for 3, 4 months. I didn't
okay,
drive
I
it.
see.
I had a daily, so
Yeah, I see.
it was in the back of my mind. I was still a part of Inspired at the time.
Mhm.
I would take it out and go to show like meets and stuff, and that was about it. Had no issues. Just didn't know what the next move was going to be for the car.
Yeah.
So, you know, couple hit me up, and they're like, "Hey, are you selling it?" I was like, "Nah, not really." I was like, but I kind of joked around, and I was like, "Everything's for sale at the right price."
Right, of course.
And they're like, "What's your right price?" And I told them, and they're like, "Okay, I'll come down, check it out." I'm like, "Can't be serious,"
Yeah, yeah.
you know. And I gave them such an unrealistic time, like time of day. I mean, time of the day and
Right.
time of day. Like I was just like, they're not gonna come. You know what I mean? So it was like 7 in the morning on like a Thursday,
Mhm.
and I set my alarm. They're like, all right, cool, we'll be there. Set my alarm for like 6:30, 6:45. No text, no reply. Went back to bed. Get a knock on my door like 6:15, 6:20. I
Oh,
mean
snap.
7:20, and
Yeah.
I'm like, what? You guys are here? They're like, yeah, we came to look at the car. And I'm like, all right. So I'm half asleep. I'm in my boxers and shirt, and I'm like, all right, well, here's the key. Take a look at the car. Um, and the guy right away was just, I love this car. He was just
Yeah.
flabbergasted. I'm like, you've never seen a car like this, never seen it so clean, interior, everything flawless. And the dad was there, and of course the dad was kind of like the one that was like, let's negotiate, let's talk
Mhm.
about it. And first thing I said to him was like, if you came here to negotiate, you wasted your time, because I was like, he hit me up, he wanted to buy the car, wasn't for sale,
Right.
you know what I mean? So, um, you know, you guys wasted your time if you came here for that. Of course, dad's like, no, 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 just buy it, just buy it.
Uh-huh.
They drove it like up and down the street like one time, and they were sold on it.
Wow.
So, right there, signed the pink slip over, handed the cash over, and that was it. I didn't tell anybody I was selling it. I didn't have it up for sale. So all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the car was just gone.
Wow. That's
And
crazy.
everybody's like, "Man, where's the Maxima? Where's the Maxima?" And I'm like, "That thing's been gone, man."
Damn, that's wild.
Yeah.
That's
And like
crazy.
I said, I had my daily, so I wasn't like worried about a car.
Right, right.
I wasn't like in a desperate need to. Some people they part out, they sell their bills because they want to get into something new.
Yeah,
I didn't. I wasn't even thinking about this car for at least another year,
I see.
down the line.
I see.
You know,
Okay.
um,
Yeah. I mean, before we get into this car, I wanted to touch on how you got into Inspired, the car club right there. How did you
um,
find out about it
good question.
and stuff like that? Yeah.
So at the time when I had the Maxima, the VQ scene, the most popular club out there is Unknown VQs.
Yeah, yeah.
So naturally, I DM'd the lead at the time, which is Miggy, good friend. Shout out to Miggy. He recruited me to Unknown VQs.
Okay.
And yeah, I just hit it off with the club, and I was always out and about, and trying to think. After a while, I started to meet other people in the car scene, and then I meet uh, a friend named Luna,
Okay.
and he drove an M37,
Yeah.
another car that was not very common to fix up,
Hmm.
just like the Maxima.
Yeah.
So we kind of shared something in common as far as like having a very like unique build.
Right.
So one day I DM him like, man, I love your car, blah blah blah. Like, we should meet up sometime. And at that time he was part of Inspired,
Hmm.
and we meet up, go out, photo shoot, have lunch. And then we're just vibing, and he's just like, "Hey man, you should come out and meet the club." At the time the club was barely just kind of starting up, only had a few members in it.
I see.
Nothing too crazy. So I was like, "Yeah, cool." So of course I'm going to like shows. I'm starting to kind of get like starting to get in the aspect of like, damn, this is really what this is like.
Yeah.
Show cars,
That's dope.
VIP type stuff,
Hmm.
and I'm like, man, I'm feeling it. I'm vibing it. And then eventually, maybe after 3 or 4 meets, they're like, hey man, you want to join? And I'm like, absolutely, So I actually got bannered at VJC.
Really nice.
I don't know if it was their first one or their second one, but I actually got bannered at that meet.
Okay.
That's where started to get to know them as well.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome. I mean, how's your experience been in Inspired there, for the most part?
Great.
Yeah.
A lot of clubs, a lot of people have issues.
That's
Things
what I
get
hear.
yeah. A lot of they have a lot of them have like political arguments, and it has to do with like jealousy, and we're not about that.
Yeah.
Part of the reason why I've been with this club so long is, we're adults. We all have kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all have jobs. Our careers, and we prioritize family. Over this stuff first.
Right.
And I think that's that you know that aspect like that we have with a club that kind of keeps us together, because we don't force anybody to do anything. It's just kind of like, if we get together, we get together. Um, a lot of people are like, oh, we have to do mandatory stuff, and then
Yeah.
we're not
Yeah.
about that. We don't have like set rules and regulations that that we like to force members to like
Right.
obey. It's like, hey, come out whenever you can.
Okay.
The club's gonna be here. You want to show up.
Right. That's
The only
good.
thing we ask is just to be active.
Of course.
Be active. Show us what what you want to do, how you want to progress your build.
Yeah.
That type of thing. And that's part of the reason why I think Inspired has been like the way we are. We have members that have been with us since we started, and they're still here to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have we're not the type of club where people kind of hop in, hop out. That's not our vibe.
Yeah.
We have people that prospect for 6 months to a year before they even get bannered.
I see.
Because we want to make sure that you're like a ride or die.
Right. Right.
You know.
Okay. That's good to hear right there. I mean, now let's talk about this Accord right here. What made you get an Accord?
So after the Maxima, I had I told you, I had that year and a half where I didn't have a build at all.
Okay.
Of course, Inspired, I was still kind of part of the club. I just didn't have anything. So I love the 10th gen Accord because one of the members in Inspired, Aaron, he had an Accord, 2018, and he had it all fixed up nicely, tastefully done. Like nothing over the top, just perfect. Bagged, wheels, kit. And for me, I saw that and I'm like, man, that's it looks good.
Yeah.
And that kind of inspired me to like maybe take a look at getting it. So it was actually pretty spontaneous, actually. Like, I wasn't planning on like getting it anytime soon, but then I started having some mechanical issues with my daily. So I was like, maybe I should look into getting a new car.
Yeah.
I've always kind of got hand-me-downs. So I was like, I need to look at getting into something new, something that's mine, that's brand new, never been touched. So me and my sister went down to Norm Reeves, and went up to the salesman, and I told him, I'm like, I want the top of the line Accord that you have on the lot. And he was like, say less. There was two 2.0 touring editions on the lot. One of them was white, and then the other one was what's the color? It's like the gray color. I always forget the name of the color.
Okay.
Sonic Gray.
Okay.
Sonic Gray.
Yeah.
I wasn't kind of feeling the gray at the time because it reminded me of like the Nardo gray that everybody was kind of like doing at the time.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, nah, I don't want to get that because that seems like a very popular color. But I saw the pearlescent, the pearl, the platinum pearl in the light. I'm like, I gotta have this one. So 3-4 hours later, picked it up. And then, of course, I did my research on the car. Of course, like what I want to do, as far as what I wanted to do, what parts I wanted to get, and first thing I did was I went and bought bags. I probably didn't have more than 3,000 miles on it before I bagged it.
Nice.
So the struts I have at home are literally brand new. They're
Really?
probably not even broken in. Bought bags, had the management, and and then that was the first thing. Bagged it, and then started building my relationship with Custom Tuning. Shout out to Custom Tuning for everything that's done to the car, as far as parts. Um, he hooked me up, and then at the time, my boy Will, still active in the scene. I wish he was more active. But he kind of inspired me because he had a white one just like mine to, kind of get my foot in the door as what direction I wanted to go in with the car. Um, Aaron was a huge help, with putting everything on the car, grounded out installs. Shout out to grounded out installs for pretty much putting hands on this whole entire car, from the ground up. Um, but at that point when I bagged it, I kind of didn't know what direction I wanted to go into with it. A lot of people they go the performance route.
Yeah.
A lot of people they go VIP, and us being a VIP club, naturally, I started buying, you know, JP and
Yeah.
started getting ideas on what I wanted to do for the interior, kind of making the car mine.
Yeah.
You know, and I wanted to be different because I one of the things I noticed about the 10 Gen is the community is so vast, it's so huge
Yeah.
that like I was just like, man, like I'm not used to this. I'm so used to having a unique car that the community
Right.
is so small.
Mhm.
So dealing with a community that's so large and then like people are so active is like to me was unreal.
Nice.
And yeah, I just from there just sky was the limit.
Mhm. Nice. I mean, how is the community with the 10 Gen Accords like that?
It's just like any other community. You got toxic people,
Okay.
that, you know, jealous.
Mhm.
And then you have others that are just 100% supportive, and um, it's mostly supportive.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
good.
gonna, I'm not gonna bad talk, the Tianjin community and say
Okay.
that
Yeah.
it's not. It's everybody that I met is down to earth or chill. It's just like any other community. You got people that are, hate for no reason, and you got others that are 100% supportive and always want to look that are looking out for you, and kind of always be cheering you on and being supportive. And that's what I like, that's what I love about the Tenjin community is everybody's super supportive, everybody looks out for each other, and they're always willing to lend a hand, and whether you ask for it or not. And that's what kind of has also continued for me to keep building this car, keep it, because I think at one point when I was working on the car, I was like, I don't think I want to keep this car. Maybe I'm thinking I should get something new, get into something that's a little different.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then me being around all the you know, people in the scene, I'm like, well, it's awesome. Like,
Yeah.
people here are of my age. It's not like there's an age limit as far as younger or older. We're all pretty much in the middle, and
Mhm.
we all get along. And it's not those how can I say? It's not like those awkward situations where you know you talk to somebody on Instagram and then when you go to meet them in person, it's like
Yeah.
right off the bat, people are like, "Hey, fat, hey, what's up?"
Right.
So that's what I love. That's what I love about it too. Everybody's so down to earth.
That's good. That's good to hear. I mean, so it is a VIP build. Um, how do you define the VIP like style like that? How do you define it?
I mean, a lot of people are inspired by the Deepu, like
Mhm.
lifestyle that's in Japan. As far as their cars. Um, I get asked that question a lot, especially with this car. Is I think it's really just the lifestyle that you choose to have with the car. I always tell people, I'm like, one of the big things is interior. It's also the aspect of building the car around like the style, um, black, chrome,
Yeah.
big lips, stance car. Um, of course, interior JP, Garson. You have luxury abstract. So a lot of expensive brands,
Yeah.
that people look out for to kind of, start fixing up their cars. A lot of people think it's silly, we think it's great, but a lot of people think it's silly. Oh, you have pillows in your car, you have a chandelier,
Yeah.
you have? Like, what's going on in here? But to us, it's like, that's the lifestyle,
Exactly.
and we don't expect you to get it. We don't expect you to be like, oh, like, but uh, even normal people outside of, the car scene, when they see it, they're just like, they're so like, like wowed, that
Yeah.
you could do stuff like this inside of a car, and to me that's like I love that. I love getting that feedback,
Mhm.
um, and a lot of people, I always tell people like all the time, like when they ask me what direction that they should go with, with their build, and I always tell them like, look, I was like, VIP is not for everybody. A lot of people like just like performance isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, VIP is expensive. A lot of people would not pay the amount of money that we pay for silly things like pillows and curtains,
Right.
and table, little mini tables that you
Mhm.
put props on and stuff. So a lot of people think that's silly, and to us it's the lifestyle. We love it.
Okay. I mean, do you want to give a little rundown on what you have done to your car? What makes your car VIP type of build?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things I wanted to do different with this car is, you look at other builds and you get inspired by them, and you don't want to exactly copy them.
Mhm.
You kind of want to make your own and do your own thing.
Right.
When I
Right.
first started on this car, I got a lot of hand-me-down parts. Even getting hand-me-down VIP parts is still good because,
Yeah.
it's very expensive
Oh yeah.
when you buy brand new. So luckily, being in a VIP club, a lot of guys have, leftover parts, and that's kind of how I got my start with how I wanted to fix the car up. Um, so of course, I always tell people JP is the way to go if you want to kind of get your foot in the door with, you know, um, curtains and pillows and
Yeah.
stuff like that. There are a lot of companies out there that make tables. You can either choose to do it yourself, or you could hit up, big brands, big people like, VIP Aesthetics, and uh, get tables made, custom made.
Okay. Sweet.
Um, but luckily, knowing the people that I know, I was able to get all that stuff pretty quickly, pretty cheap. But again, I wanted to make the car mine. I
Mhm.
didn't want to take somebody else's interior and put it in my car, and then, uh, to me, I was like, I want to do something different. So that's when I decided I was a big fan of cars that come with center trays. They have the TVs and
Yeah.
champagne holder,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'm just like, man, I love that. Like, I gotta have something like that. So I started getting inspired by it and looking at certain ones I wanted to get. Some are very big, some are very small. So I got inspired by this one that was in a what was it? I think it was in a crown, and very subtle, very subtle, very. It was uh it was perfect to say the least. So I started hitting up people and I said, "Hey, man, who do you think can start making things like this? Because this is not something that you can just hit up somebody and say, "Hey, can I get this?"
Mhm.
Um, it's all custom made. So my homie Fisher, he hit me up and was like, "I can knock it out quick," and I'm like, "All right, cool." So I came over to his house one day and he started drawing everything out using cardboard and got inside the car, started
Mhm.
doing all these measurements, and yeah, eventually we built it and he did it for me. And that was a piece that, like, a centerpiece that I wanted, I could build the interior around. So then my homie Aaron, I said, let's do hardwood floors inside the car too. Let's make it. And he's like, I can do it. I'm like, all right,
That's
cool.
dope.
So he started making hardwood floors for the car, and that was something that I saw was different because a lot of people that are in the VIP scene, they do like diamond,
Mhm.
floor mats and all
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
stuff. And I didn't want to do that. I was like, I want to do something different. So then I saw that there's an option to do hardwood floors inside. The chandelier had the chandelier. I had. Um, I just wasn't a big fan of the chandelier. It bounces around too much. A
Mhm.
lot of people drive with them, and I just wasn't a big fan. Eventually, I took that out. Of course, the full JP, curtains, pillows, cushions, the whole 9 yards. Shout out to VIP Cartel for hooking me up with all that stuff. Um, and then, of course, the leather.
Mhm.
Leather is a big thing in the VIP scene. You know, black, black on white, wood grain. So pretty much in the direction I was going for mine. I just wanted to be very subtle. A lot of people are very, you know, uh, have a lot of stuff
Mhm.
inside the cars. But me, I wanted to keep it simple.
Yeah.
Go to a show, pull up, air out, call it a day.
Yeah. Most definitely. I mean, for the exterior, you have bags, of course.
Mhm.
As for the wheels, what type of wheels are those? Because I've never seen them on another
Yeah,
car right there.
so they're starting to get out there. I've seen a couple cars with them so far,
Mhm.
but they're GMR Kings,
Okay.
but by VR wheels.
So-
I kind of was tired of like, how can I say, like everybody in the scene. I feel like it's one of the most toxic traits that's in the scene is wheels. You
Mhm.
know, revs, and
Yeah.
your car has revs, and real wheels only. And I understand. Like I've had nothing but real wheels. I've had works. I've had bronzes. I've had wins. Um, SSRs. I've had them all. And end of the day, you build a car the way you want it. You
Yeah.
build the car the way you're, to your budget, to your liking. At the end of the day, it's your car. Build it the way you want it. So I feel like getting the GMRs was kind of like getting out of my comfort zone as far as like, getting out of the real world game.
Yeah.
And I just, at the end of the day, it's, I love the way they looked. The gold hardware, the diamond cut faces. I've always been a big fan of wheels that don't show lugs. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I've always been a big fan of that. OZ wheels, Koenigs, Emmets. Wheels that
Mhm.
don't show lug patterns.
Right.
Always a big fan. So I wanted to get something that uh, would top off the VIP look.
Yeah. Most definitely.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned like the whole wheel controversy and everything. Another thing that I've seen, I mean, more in like the stance type of community too, is the like the wheel specs.
Yeah.
How do you feel about like some people like more like gatekeeping certain wheel specs and stuff like that? How do
I
you feel
guess.
about that?
Yeah, I could definitely tell you that I am not a gatekeeper. I've had countless DMs where people are just like, "Hey man, what's your specs?" And I tell them,
Okay.
what's the point, man? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like when people build cars, they build cars to help inspire others.
Mhm.
I think that's what it's all about. That's what the car community is about, right? Supporting each other. And if someone that doesn't have, a build like yours, but it wants to get to that level, I always tell people, do your research, right? Do
Mhm.
your research. Part of doing your research is reaching out to people on, hey,
Yeah,
asking a question. Hey man,
exactly.
what are your specs? Where'd you get your kit from?
Mhm.
Um, and of course, I'm always open to. I never leave anybody on scene when anybody wants to. I never gatekeep wheel specs or anything like that. But I think it's a shame. I
Mm.
think it's a shame when you have people that have, especially people that have like a large following,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
kind of choose to like, oh, like you're not on my level. Like I'm not gonna talk to you. And I just think that's part of the reason why the scene is the way it is.
yeah,
It's so toxic is because people just you know don't respect each other. And it's a shame.
yeah. I mean, for like the more stance community, now that we're on the topic, how would you say the whole community there is too? Like, I know there's a controversy between bagged and static too.
Yeah,
I mean, how do you feel about all that too?
man. When it comes to the stance, it's such a touchy subject. It really is. It depends on who you're talking to. Some people are just about that static lifestyle, and I'm kind of 50-50. I respect people that go the distance as far as being having a static build and like drive how you park. Like
Mhm.
I get it. Like I've been there, I've done that. I can tell you I got into a lot of trouble or broken a lot of parts. And then for me, I always tell people, I'm like, look, if you love the car and you love the longevity, you want to keep the longevity of the car,
Yeah,
you have to invest in bags. Bags are expensive. Um, a lot of people say that bags are not in their budget. I get it, 100%. Bags are expensive, but I feel like in this day and age, it's affordable. It's affordable to the point to where if you just save up and you do your research and you get to know
yeah,
people, um, you know, you get a deal. A lot of people are just like, I don't want to deal with leaks. I don't want to deal with a bag popping. And
right.
I always tell people, look, if you do your research and you have someone, a good installer, you don't ever have to worry about those issues.
Yeah,
I've been driving this car for 3+ years and I've had zero issues. I've had a leak here and there, but it's due to issues that from having wide wheels.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with
How it was installed or
how it's
anything.
installed
I see.
or the part being faulty.
Right.
It's been from driving a stance car with camber. The wheels rubbing against the airlines and the bags and all that stuff. That all comes with experience and a life lesson.
Yeah, it's
You know.
definitely.
But to go back to your original question, as far as bags uh, over coilovers, to each their own.
Mhm.
You love static, be static. You love being bagged, be bagged. They're both great. I'm
Yeah,
not, I,
it's
I would never
definitely.
talk bad on I would never talk bad on somebody that's static over somebody that's bagged, because at the end of the day, it's your build, it's your car. You build it how you want. I'll respect it.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, as for like the future with your build and your whole journey, what are your plans with the car and everything like that too?
So, what I want the next major thing I want to do is I'm gonna redo the trunk setup. Kind of want to do a version two. You know, like I said, when you come up with these ideas and you get inspired by other people, you do something, and then eventually you want to evolve it. You
Mhm.
start seeing more ideas, more things start coming out. You want to do it, make it better.
Right,
So that's what I want to do with the trunk setup. A lot of people are like, "Oh, you're crazy. Your trunk setup is clean. Why would you want to change it?" It's not that I want to change. I want to make it better.
right, of course.
Um, the warranty is almost over on the car. But a lot of people are like, "Why come you don't do engine mods? How come you don't do this? How come you don't do that?" And me personally, I'm just like, I want to wait till I read the real answer is I want to wait till the warranty's over.
Okay.
I don't want something to happen to the engine and
Yeah.
then the dealership's like, nah, we gotta avoid everything because you have bolt-ons on it.
Right,
The
right.
last thing I want. At least when the warranty's over, it is what it is. I can start doing whatever I want. Eventually, start doing engine mods. I'm happy with the way the car sits. Um, Offsets and dealing with fitment and alignments and camber adjustments and toe adjustments, it's such a headache.
Right.
So I feel like, I'm happy with how the car is, so I don't want to change anything. A lot of people are like, "Oh, go double digit camber." I'm like, I'll go double digits if you supply me with an unlimited amount of tires.
Right.
You know, but
Okay.
maybe a wrap later down the line.
Okay. Yeah.
I can't see myself covering up the platinum pearl, but eventually maybe I'll get bored later down the line and I'll throw a wrap on it.
Okay.
More carbon.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. I mean, last little topic I would want to touch is like I know you go to a lot of car shows. The most recent one you went to was Slammed Enough, right? When you go to car shows and everything, how's the whole environment there? You would say too.
I love going to car shows.
Yeah.
I feel like, especially with the way that the car meets are these days, with takeovers and people wanting to spoil your night by revving their engines up high and doing burnouts and stuff. To me, that's so childish, and I don't want to be a part of it. I feel like that's part of the reason why I don't go to a lot of meets. Shout out to Dan from Street Fuel. He's holding it down for the car scene out here, and we support him 100%. Um, no matter what, I'll always be there for him. But like as far as going to other ones that people invite me to, I really don't show face because
Right.
I don't want to deal with, takeover people,
Hmm.
cops, and stuff like that. Rather be honestly rather be at home. As far as car shows, that's one thing I love about car shows is you pay for it. You don't have to worry about dealing with cops. You don't have to worry about getting kicked out. Everything's permitted. Um, you know, you hang out with other people that I always tell people when they ask me about going to car shows, I say, if you want to go, go. But I always tell people that it's an eye awakening situation when you go to car shows because it really humbles you when you're around other builds, especially ones that are like yours, where you're like, man, I really need to set my game up.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about car shows.
Okay.
And I think going to car shows really inspires people because they see what others have and what they can do and what your platform is capable of, and that makes people want to step their game up.
Yeah. Okay.
I always use car shows as like a stepping point as far as where I want my build to be at.
Mhm.
So I know, uh, or like a deadline. You know, where I'm
Okay,
like,
yeah,
I need to
yeah.
have my car ready before slammed. You
Yeah.
know, that's the deadline, and that kind of helps me drive and like push myself to like, uh, build a car,
Mm.
you know, to my liking. You know, but
Okay.
yeah, I always encourage people to go to a show, at least one. And
Yeah.
if it's not your vibe, then you don't have to worry about ever signing up for them, or
Yeah.
going,
Yeah.
because they are paid events. Um, but there are some people that just go to go the vibe with people, and there are some people that are competitive.
Yeah.
They go to win.
Mhm.
You know.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, I mean, on that note, I mean, is there anything else that you want to talk about your car or anything like that, about the whole scene? Anything else you'd want to touch on at all?
Not really. I mean, honestly, between the car scene and all that stuff like that, I just wish that others would get along more and support each other.
Yeah,
That's all I want out of the car community is,
yeah, most
you
definitely.
know, we do this stuff for fun,
Yeah,
This is our hobby,
mhm,
And the last thing I want people to do is feel discouraged, to uh, do things that they love
yeah,
and then
mhm,
feel discouraged because other people are talking down on them because they want to do things a certain way,
right.
things that they like.
Hmm.
Not everybody is into bad cars. Not everybody's into stance cars. Not everybody's into performance cars, But together as a community, I feel like, we should all come together regardless of
Yeah,
what kind of car or kind of bills we have.
yeah, most
You know,
definitely.
um, that's
Most
just my
definitely.
personal opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with that for sure. At the end of the day, it's just one big passion that everybody
Yeah, it's
everybody has. It's one big car community,
yeah,
one big family.
absolutely.
Well, I mean, on that note, at the end of each episode, we like to do the lucky final seven, pretty much. So just 7 questions we like to stick to at the end of each episode. So yeah, first question: what's your favorite part of the car community?
My favorite part,
Yeah.
I would have to say the engagement.
Okay.
Yeah, just the engagement with people, especially those that share the same platform
Yeah.
as your car. Doesn't have to necessarily be the same platform as your car. It could be. I get along with people that have lifted trucks, and
Yeah.
lowriders and
Yeah.
stuff.
Most definitely.
But it's the engagement that we deal with, that kind of I don't know how to say it, like gives you chills. Like when people compliment you,
Mhm.
whether they have a build or they don't have a build.
Right.
You could be
Exactly.
running into anybody, and they're just like, hey man, I love your car. It could be at a gas station, it could be at 7-Eleven. Hey man, I love your car, I love your wheels.
Yeah.
What do you have done to it? I love that type of engagement.
Okay. For sure. Yeah, that's a good one for sure. Next question, similar to the first, but what's your least favorite part of the car community? Right there.
Um, I will. How would I say it? I would just say honestly, it's hard. There's so much. There's so many and there's so little. But my
Mhm.
whole thing, my least favorite is just hate. You know, just putting down people for no reason. It's
Yeah.
because you want to feel better about yourself. It's like I said, we're all in this together, and we should be able to support each other. And there are some out there that just don't see it that way.
Yeah.
They just
Hmm.
want to put you down for no reason,
Hmm.
and I feel like that's not the way it should be.
Yeah. Most definitely. All right, so next question, let's go with, do you have any like controversial car opinions that you'd want to talk about or anything like that too?
Controversial. Hmm, that's a tough one. Um, Not really.
I
I'm
mean, like we touched on like the fake wheels and the rep wheels,
Yeah.
real wheels, stuff like that.
Yeah, like my whole thing is if it looks good, it looks good.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether it's reps or real wheels, as long as it looks good to me, like,
Mhm.
you know, uh, do it.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
I'm not gonna badmouth you because you build your car to what you can afford. At the end of the day, that's what people do. They build their car to their budget.
Yeah,
Some
exactly.
people have a blank check where they can do whatever they want to their car and buy all the top of the line parts, and there's some
Yeah.
people that actually work with a budget,
Hmm.
and do what they can as long as they make it look good. You know, that's that's what it's all about. Fake wheels and real wheels, I'm always gonna be on real wheels. I'm always gonna be,
For sure.
I always tell people when they're building their car, save up, save up, And I don't say that because I think that real wheels are better than reps or whatever. I just think that if you're gonna build a car, you want to build it with quality parts.
Mhm.
And we all know that, you know, um, real wheels are built better,
Right.
better quality. The longevity of them is always going to be there. I mean, we have people on the market buying wheels that are 20 years old,
Mhm.
you know, and still out there, people putting miles on them when these wheels are built in the 90s,
Yep.
and then
That's
there are
true.
people that rock reps and they have issues.
Yeah, most definitely. Next question would be, do you have any regrets in the car scene at all? Like anything at all?
Regrets. Regrets. I don't really have any regrets. The only regrets I have is um, the amount of money that I spent.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, I always tell people, I'm like, the amount of money I spend on car stuff is you wouldn't even believe. And you know what? That's part of having an expensive hobby. It's
Mhm.
it's a passion that you have. You invest your time and energy and money
Mhm.
into it, and it's something you do. It's you know, your passion.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, let's go with, what's your dream car?
My dream car.
Yeah, dream car, any car, no budget, or you can do top three in your garage.
Hands down, my dream car is either a 1991 or a 1993 because they're both the same. Acura NSX, my
Okay.
dream car. Absolutely. I always tell myself that I am going to own one of those one day, and I'm hoping later down the line, if they don't get too expensive. They're getting pretty expensive right now, but 10 years ago you could bought one of those for pretty dang cheap, but
Oh
they're
yeah.
starting to become a lot more expensive now. But yeah,
Hmm.
hands down, Acura NSX.
Okay. What type of build would you do with that? Like more?
Definitely, I wouldn't. Definitely not stance. It'd be 100% performance.
Okay.
I would, like any basic guy would be on coils. I'd probably throw some T's on it.
Okay.
Definitely performance. Little bolt-ons and stuff like that. Throw some Brids or some Recaros in it.
There you go. Nice.
Just
That'd be
keep it
sick.
simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, little
Most
carbon
definitely.
accents and stuff. That's exactly what I would do. Like, nothing over the top, no big spoilers.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah,
For sure. Nice. Second to last question would be, what's one car that you would like wipe from existence? Like it never existed right there. Any car right there.
white from existence.
Yeah.
Hmm. That's really tough.
Last
Uh,
episode we had a guy say all electric cars like Teslas and stuff like that.
I like Teslas, man. I had nothing against electric cars.
Okay.
What was it? Prius,
Priuses?
100%.
Okay.
I can't stand Priuses. Like, and it's not. I have nothing against like. I would say it's probably just the drivers. They're
Yeah.
so arrogant, dude, and I'm just like, it's so annoying. Like, dealing with Prius drivers. I have nothing against the car. Good gas mileage. But
Hey, I have seen a few Stance VIP
yeah.
ones though. They are kind
So
of clean.
yeah, another car that's like people work on and they look good, but
Mhm.
when you're driving out on the road and
The common
having
Prius.
dealing with those cars, it's frustrating.
Oh yeah, I agree with that for sure. Well, on that note, last question: what's some advice you would give to someone wanting to get into cars? Um, yeah,
Do your research,
research. Okay.
definitely. A lot of people they get into cars and then they don't realize that they bit off more than they can chew. As far as it depends on really what kind of chassis you get into. So that's why I said do your
Yeah,
research. If you're gonna get into a particular car, make sure it's a car that fits around your budget.
yeah,
Something that's easy for you to work on. Honestly, because some people they get into a car and they go, man, I can't do this because one, parts are rare, they're expensive, and they can't afford it, and eventually they get unmotivated.
yeah.
You know,
True.
unlike a 10 gen where the aftermarket support is unlimited.
Hmm.
So I would just tell people that if you're going to get into a car, do your research and get into a chassis or a platform that has mass aftermarket support because you could buy parts that are very cheap and build the car on a budget, or they sell very expensive parts,
Yeah,
that are baller.
most
No,
definitely.
100% do your research
For sure.
before
I
you
like
buy
that.
it.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, on that note, I mean, do you want to give any like shout outs or anything like that? Where could the people find you at too?
So Instagram, PHAT_CVT. Yeah, I want to give a shout out to all the people that put hands on this car. Some also in the community, Cali Creaming, Street Fuel. Shout out to Dan. All the people that put their hands on this car, grounded out installs, custom tuning, M Street Customs. Um, yeah, I mean, VJC, huge shout out to Ivan at VJC, always taking care of me when I need alignments and tires. And then shout out to my club, Inspire Society, for always having my back and supporting me. Um, pretty much it.
Okay. Well, sounds good. Well, yeah, go check him out. Adam, thank you
It's an
for
honor.
being on our episode right here. Fat_CB2.
That's right.
CB2 right there. So thank you, Adam.
So,
And thank you guys for listening. If you made it this far, this has been the Dare to Drive podcast. And don't forget to dare to drive.